Usually what you would do is you would take back your turn against an opponent that mashes like this by simply poking them, right? So for example, if I could get it to go. Say I tried to poke Johnny again to abuse the pokes, which we see a lot of like Scorpions doing this online. And it didn't work because obviously his poke comes out first. So that's how you stop people from mashing essentially. But the problem is when you start to fight people who are a little bit more intelligent, who respect when their turn is over and things along those lines, people that are a little bit better, it's a waste of opportunity. It's a waste of your turn to simply keep taking back your turn by a poke because then your turn's over, right? This is going to go on forever if you... So just think about this, right? So if you poke, after you poke, your turn is over. So this means that Jackie gets to pressure you with all those staggers, and the only thing that you can do is just poke, and then there's nothing else. Whereas for you, you have to keep guessing on what stagger she's going to do. She can do all sorts of things with her offense. So you're wasting your turn, essentially, if you just poke. So what I recommend is, depending on who you play, right? If you play a masher, you absolutely need to poke to take back your turn. But when you play someone who blocks when their turn is completely over, then that's when you want to start to take your turn back with full combos, right? So, for example, now instead of poking, you take it back like this. And of course, this wouldn't work if you face a masher. So it depends. You have to keep adjusting. When the masher mashes, that's when you take back your turn by poking. But when that's over, stop taking back your turn by poking because you're wasting your time. You're wasting your offense and you're putting your opponent at an advantage. Now, taking back your turn with pokes, it depends on which character you play. If you play Johnny Cage and someone's mashing on you, you will have to take your turn back with a poke because he has no reliable, quick, fast mids. He has highs on everything, right? Or a slow mid and a slow low. Both of these moves, his forward 4 and his back 3, are usually used in the neutral around here. You can't really use it right after or her turn is over, right? So, I mean, let's try it out. So, maybe you can actually, the forward 4. I think you can. No, you can't even. Wow. Right, even if he does back 3. Yeah, it's too slow. Johnny's gonna have to poke. If you play someone with a 9-frame mid, you never have to poke essentially because 9 frames is as fast as a poke. It depends which poke, but look, Johnny's down 3 is 9 frames, right? This is pretty fast. So every time this guy's turn is over, don't even poke, and that means that your offense is blessed because you can start your staggers and your mind games and everything. Your turn is never over, right? Or, I mean, it will be over eventually if you choose to complete the string, but if you keep staggering, you can do that forever until you get interrupted. So you inherently have an advantage if you have a 9-frame mid, like Jackie, like Jax, like Liu Kang. So that is something that Jackie doesn't even have to deal with. So if you struggle against mashers, learn a character that has a 9-frame mid starter. That leads to a full combo that can be staggered, things along those lines. I'm sure there's a couple here, but just from the top of my head, like this guy, Jax, has a 9-frame. She does forward 4. Who else has a 9-frame mid? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know how fast is forward 3, but it's pretty fast. That's 9 frames, back 1. This is minus, this one is 11 frames. Should be fine. Yeah, 11 frames should be fine because there's minus 6 frames of recovery on a poke blocked, usually minus 6. So even if you're Garrus, if you have minus, so let's try it with that, right? So let's test it out. I'm going to use someone with a, not a 9-frame mid, it's 11 frames. It's a little bit slower, but it's still a good mid. Let's see, so let's say we get Garrus. I'm just going to calculate his frames. He's going to be minus 5, or it depends on the reach. So he's going to touch, so let's say Garrus is trying to mash, right? He's trying to do this into this. But you're thinking, should I poke him or should I take my turn back by a combo? So let's just calculate the frames here. Minus 7 plus 6. So what's 7 plus 6? 13. So I'm going to say that Jay is going to be able to punish this, right? So let me see if I'm correct. And last time I got my math wrong. I was utterly humiliated. This time I took my time. Okay, so he does this. He's going to poke. Bang, I touch him first because I have 11 frames and he connects on the 13 frames. Right, if I use something slower, let's use something like, obviously that's going to touch me. What is this? 16 frames, even forward 3 is going to get interrupted. See? So that means that even an 11 frame mid should be fine. So Jade doesn't have to take back her turn by poking. She can take back her turn with back 3s, which is really nice. Right, so how fast is Garrus for 2? 11 frames. It's going to be the same thing with Garrus. Garrus doesn't... So he can poke. He has the best poke in the game. But he doesn't even have to poke. Like, as soon as Jade's turn is over, he can just take back his turn with forward 2. So that's really, really cool. Okay, that's the video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.